you're anything like me and you've been trying to become super rich for it seems like since the beginning of time, stay tuned because I'm going to be sharing with you the secret ingredients. I finally cracked the code. Today, this video is going to be about this amazing book by Cardone, The Millionaire Booklet, How to Get Super Rich. I'm just going to be giving you the key points that I learned. So in the Millionaire Booklet, there's 8 main points to becoming super rich. Number 1 is you need to decide you want to be rich and that it's possible. More than 80% of millionaires are self-made. When I was going through this chapter, like my mind was blown. He started to go through the different ways that people become millionaires. And the majority of people, they actually do it by being employees, which I thought was so funny because all we ever hear about is all the people that became millionaires from starting up a business. But the reality is there's so many different ways to do it. First thing you need to do is you need to realize that it's possible. Because if you don't think that's possible, you're never going to achieve it. Becoming a millionaire is not hard at all. It's extremely simple. You just have to stick to the process. So step 2 in the book, this is the part of the book that actually blew my mind. It's called Millionaire Math. So basically what you do is if you want to make $1 million, all you do is you then reverse engineer that. So for example, if you make $50,000 a year, it would take you 20 years to make $1 million. If you make $100,000 a year, it will take you 10 years to make $1 million. The point is, when you start to reverse the math, you realize that pretty much all of us in our lifetime are going to make $1 million. The question just is, are we going to have that in our account? Are we going to spend it? Like, where's the money going to go? For myself, I'm a setter. On average, for every sale I get, it's $3,000 per sale. So that means in order for me to make $1 million in a year, I would need to do about 333 accounts, which sounds like a lot, but there are people that have done 300 deals a year. And then we can even reverse that engineering even more. So you're like, okay, so what if I become a closer? What if I self-jump? If I become that, my income will basically double. I'll be making double the amount for the same deal. So instead of making $3,000 per deal, I'll be making about $6,000 per deal. So then we take that math and we then divide it. Okay, so before I was at like 333, now I'm at more like, 175. If I make 175 sales in a year, which there are people doing, I can literally make $1 million in a year. Absolutely insane. And you can literally reverse engineer this for anything. Rather, if you want to sell a product for $1,000, you want to sell a product for $500. If you just do the math, you can start to realize how much more attainable it is. Number 3, this one was some fuego. Commit to increasing your income. So when Grant was talking about this, he was talking about doing it in like increments. He said when you first start, just focus on setting a target goal. So for example, what he highly encouraged everyone to do in their book is just prove to yourself that you can make more income than you think you can. Sell as much as you possibly can. Sell any belongings that you don't want. From there, retell your friends. Ask them if there's anything they don't want, they'll be willing to give you for free, and just sell it. You just need to sell it just to prove to yourself that you can just generate income. It's not about making a lot of money. It's just about changing your thinking. For example, our entire lives we've been programmed to think that making a certain amount of money in a month is a lot of money. But really, guys, there's people that are making billions of dollars every single year. So chances are, whatever you think is a lot of money, it probably isn't. There's some guy that's making as much money as you're making a year, he's making in a day. So the question is then, okay, how do I become that guy that's making, people's salaries in one day? That's why you gotta start doing this. After you set targets, you then wanna set leaps. So for example, for me, my target is to get to $10,000 per month. So once I get to $10,000 per month, have something else at $20,000. And then I'll make something crazy, like I wanna get to $200,000. At first, focus on making small increments. So let's just say you make $3,000 a month, try to get to $5,000. Once you're at 5, and try to get to 6. And then once you start to get that crazy numbers, then that's when you start to make massive leaps. So take whatever your target is, then multiply it by 10. And then you're gonna start thinking differently. And then that's when you're gonna start getting closer to that goal. Number 4, this one was fire, and that is you gotta have a money mantra. Whenever you're struggling, for most of you, if you guys are gonna make $1 million, some of you are gonna be fortunate enough to be able to do it through your job that's salaried, but most people are gonna have to do it through either building a business or by getting a sales job. You wanna be in a field where you are not limited by how much money you can make. If you have a salary, there's a cap on how much money you can make. It doesn't matter how hard you work, you're only gonna make that amount. There's a way that you can get a job where you're paid by the hour, but you can somehow still make $1 million within a reasonable amount of time, and that's great too. But for most people, you're only gonna either do it by getting a sales job, or selling some kind of product, or having a business. Now, once you get to this point, you need to ask yourself, who's got my money?
Give me my money.
Who's got my money? It's so funny because when I first was listening to Grant talk about this, I never realized, but in every single business I've ever had, the reason why I was always struggling is because I never asked myself, who's got my money? And after I realized who had my money, which is just another word for saying, who's your target market, I then want to spend enough time with my target market. Inside this chapter, basically, he's talking about, once you figure out who has your money, you need to spend every single hour of your existence when you're not sleeping with that person that's got your money, because you can then start to form connections with those people, and then guess what? Since they have that problem, since they got your money, you then just fix their problem and then they give you your money back. Number 5, stay broke. Never let money sit around. This is so funny because whenever you keep money in reach, accessible, what do? you spend it. You make the stupid expenses. But if you keep the money out of your touch, you're always staying broke, which then forces you to always make more money. It's hilarious because in the book, Grant Cardone was talking about how period of his life, he was making the most amount of money he's ever made in his entire life. He had to negotiate with his landlord so they could make him wait longer to pay the rent. He couldn't spend that money because he had to stay broke. He was then forced to make more money. And number 6, the only reason to save is to invest and expand. You know, our entire life.
Oh, you just gotta get a good job. You just gotta save your money. Put the money in the 401k or mutual fund. So one day when you're 65 and you've left your entire life and you have nothing else to live for, then you can retire, never have to work again a day in your life, and then you die.
Our entire lives, we've been programmed that that's okay. If you just save your money, that's exactly what's gonna happen. You save it for the idea of expansion, for the idea to grow. Then that's when your money starts to grow. Don't save to save to invest. Rather be investment, such as business, real estate, storage units, whatever it is. Just put the money away for the idea to invest. Don't just let the money sit there because money gets bored. Now, number 7, this one is tricky. This is where you gotta really pay attention, okay? Number 7 is multiple flows of income. We've all heard the saying that all the super rich people, they have multiple streams of income. But this is the main key thing. Before you start focusing on generating multiple streams of income, you need to make sure that that one thing that you have, like the thing that made you rich, you need to make sure that that thing does not sort of get neglected. Because now there's some ways you can do this. You can either do this by delegating. But the thing that's really challenging is that a lot of people run into is, okay, once you have that thing that is producing cash flow, what a lot of people do is they'll then start up a second thing. And then what will happen is first thing will start to decrease production. And then the second thing will never get to the level that the first thing was at. What he was saying is make sure you focus on your main thing, but don't neglect the main thing just to start up something secondary. That main thing that you're doing is generating you a ton of income. Just keep on doing that. Don't start a second thing unless you absolutely have to. But for the most part, there's never a reason to start up a second thing. If the first thing is working, you just need to keep on putting all your eggs in that basket. It's gonna be like this, it's gonna be like this, it's gonna be like this. But what a lot of entrepreneurs do, as soon as they get to this point in their career, they start something else. Instead of just addressing the problem and then scaling that enterprise to what it's capable of reaching. The last step is repeat the steps, reinforce, and hyper-focus. So just literally, step 8 is just keep on doing this process over and over and over again until you are super rich. Now, this is some bonus advice for the Millionaire booklet. Number 1, and that is it's going to be harder than you think. But number 2 is it will be easier than you think. Number 3, you will achieve way more than you even imagine possible. Never quit. Revisit the book when you fall off track. I'm telling you guys, I promise you, I guarantee you. Grant even said this inside the book. Grant said if you're not a millionaire, you don't know what to do to become a millionaire because you've never actually done it. But what you can do is you can fall on the people that have done it. Put all your trust into them because they've done it. And just trust the process and things will work. So I'm not a millionaire yet, but I know I'm going to be because I'm following a process that it's proven to work. If you found this video helpful, you have to go buy this book because this book is absolutely going to transform your life.